Alliance have anything to say about what's next for them?
They're free to speak if they wish to.
You starting first? We got a lot of exciting things.
For me, this trial really has been about the fact that this is a huge community, as you can see here, who is really deeply concerned with this issue. And I'm so grateful that everyone has shown up today, and I know that almost everyone here is going to be carrying this work back with them wherever they came from. And that part of that work is we're going to be carrying on to an enormous march at the United Nations in New York City, September 21st, where all the heads of state from all across the world are gathering to talk about climate. And I'll be sailing there in my boat to help make that point and to gather folks along the route, and I hope everyone will come out and join us.
Tell me, if you will, why did you want necessity defense?
I don't think it was, for me, it was not a question of wanting a necessity defense. I believe we did what was necessary to build a vibrant, vocal, loud, and powerful movement that's capable of doing what the science tells us is necessary to be done on the time scale that the science tells us it's necessary to do it. And so that's clearly what we did, and that's what we need to do.
Would you tell us what you would have said had you been asked why you did what you did?
I think I basically just answered that. Ken and I both got on that boat and stood in front of and moored and anchored in front of this freighter because we need to stop burning coal immediately in this country, and particularly here in Massachusetts, to set an example for the rest of the world of how we're going to transition away from dirty fossil fuels, coal, natural gas, oil, and all the rest into a clean energy future that's going to avert, hopefully, the worst of the climate catastrophe that's bearing down on us.
Are you planning any other sort of civil action?
I'm not. My plan at this point is to sail to New York for the Climate March and to participate with folks, and particularly the Quaker community there, and then to see what comes next.
So you're happy with the word that has been gotten out by this action?
And I think for me, and maybe Ken will say the same thing too, doing this act would have been the right thing to do even if no one had paid attention. And that's the sort of act that I believe we all need to find in our heart that's correct, and to follow that truth that we know and let it speak as loudly as possible to the rest of the world, whether or not anyone hears.
Ken, you want to speak?
Sure.
So I wonder if you tell me how you balance, on the one hand, your desire to make a statement and perhaps to win a victory for the necessity defense, to establish that it was necessary for you to act as a jury would declare, with your downside of going forward and your criminal exposure.
Well, a fact to keep in mind here is they're still burning coal over there. In fact, they're burning twice as much coal last year than they did the year before. This is a plant that's supposed to be phasing out. That's the problem. I mean, we just found out this summer that the West Antarctic ice shelf is in collapse. Nothing we can do about it. 10 feet of sea level rise. In that context, it seems to me the only thing one can do is put yourself in the way. I mean, that's what we're facing here. We have to stop this because the world as we know it is ending. And if you think about it, if you're approaching it from that point of view, I mean, what happens to us here is small.
With that sense of immediacy, you planning to go back to Brayton Point?
Well, I now live in Oregon, but there's lots of coal out there too.
Will you be trying to block other coal tankers from coming in?
They don't have coal tankers out there, and I just moved out there. I'm figuring out what to do. I think this is the kind of thing that needs to happen. One of the reasons we did it is to encourage other people to do it. It can't just be, we need more than a handful. We need people to do this all over the place.
Are you slightly disappointed you didn't have James Hansen and Bill McKibben on the stand?
Oh, I'm definitely disappointed. I mean, I think we had a great opportunity here to put climate, coal burning, on trial, and but there'll be other opportunities.
Do you think
James and Bill
your
will
action
come
had anything to do with the shutting down of Brayton Point in 2017?
It's not shut down.
In 2017.
We don't know that it will be shut down in 2017. And as I said, if anybody wants to go look, we all think that the thing is sort of going out of business because that's what we've been told. But actually, it's burning, as I said, it's burned twice as much coal in 2012 as it did in 2011. Our feeling is, which makes it either the number one or number two in all of New England, New York, and New Jersey of carbon emissions. It's the single first or second. And we think it's going to be burning more this year. And they are cutting back on natural gas. They just cut their burning rate by 75%. So I don't have any reason, there's no reason to believe other than what they're saying. They just sold it to somebody else. If the economics are that it makes sense to burn, why won't they keep burning? And nowhere in that process do we, as citizens of the world, get to say, well, that's screwing up our Earth, and we shouldn't do that. So that's what we're trying to do here.
Would you encourage others to take their boats over to Brayton Point and places, other coal ports, maybe the one up in Puget Sound, if it's built suddenly coal to China to
I
stop
probably
it?
have to ask my attorneys whether that's the kind of thing I can say or not. Sentiment sounds great.
So it's a victory today. How are you going to celebrate?
I'd say for me personally, it's bittersweet, but I think, I don't know, we're going to sing, and we have some theater that people have put together, and maybe we're going to go to Cinderella's restaurant, where we had dinner after this thing. Very great restaurant. Everybody should go there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
What'd you do with the anchor?
The salvage company has it. We have the bicycle lock, though. That's more. Sorry.
Yeah, the anchor was hauled away by the salvage company that lifted it.
Thanks.
Thank you, folks. Where do we go now?